How to charge premium prices in your own business when you're first starting out? Stay tuned because this episode is gonna tell you everything. What's going on, guys? This is Marian, and in this episode of High-End Client Acquisition Show, we got Brad Martineau as a guest. And he's gonna explain everything that you need to know in order to start charging high-ticket prices in your own business when you first start out. And don't forget, if this is your first time here, you don't wanna miss out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to make sure you get notified every time when we have a new episode. Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, so my name is Brad Martineau. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called SixthDivision. We're a multi-seven-figure agency. We help people build what we call our predictable revenue machines, which is another way of saying we help people leverage the power of systems and automation so they can systematically deliver amazing experiences and basically convert more leads into clients and then also create more happier clients. So we come in, consult on it, and then actually go build it for our clients.
So you have the done for you service, and also if they want to do it themselves.
If they want to do it themselves, we've created a methodology and a process to help them do it easier. So we can train somebody on their team, or sometimes we'll work with people that are also coaches and consultants. They have their own agency, and they're like, hey, your process looks really cool. How do I get my hands on that? So we'll work with those people too. All right, so let's see. So it's 2010 is when I first started out on my own, March 3rd, 2010. And I had no freaking clue what I was doing. Like zero idea whatsoever. I was born with entrepreneurial blood, but I didn't realize it. And I left the company that I was at and I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna go do this thing on my own. And I had, like, when I say I had no freaking idea, this is that you want like true behind closed doors, no freaking idea. Like I'm talking, when people talk about waking up in the middle of the night with cold sweats, that's not a made up thing. That's like, holy crap, what am I gonna do? So for about a year and a half, I tried doing some freelance consulting and I realized really quickly, I don't like it. I'm not like a do things on myself. I need a team, I wanna be building something. So that lasted about 6 months. I'm like, I just can't I can't bring myself to do this. There's no end game in this. There's no I'm not accomplishing anything other than I'm knocking out one project at a time. So there was no excitement in it for me. And as a result of that, I just couldn't make myself do the work. And I happened to have enough money in savings and a severance package from either company that I could afford to, I just stopped doing work.
Cool.
So, well, it's not really cool because I was married and I had 5 kids and they wanted, they like food or whatever. So, all right, so anyway, so we fast forward through that and I stopped working. Money starts to go away, but I'm just like, okay, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. And I came up with this idea to do a membership site because that's what everybody does. You do a membership site and all of a sudden you make a ton of money or something like that. So we did that, made a little bit of money, but I never really grew it because again, I wasn't I didn't come from real entrepreneurial roots.
Yep.
So I tried that. We actually had a pretty good launch. We've got 85 members in our first launch. And then I just kind of let it die because I was afraid and I was being a sissy. It's like I could give you details of it, but that's basically what happened. So it kind of faded away. And essentially 2 years later, money was running out. I found a partner. I'm like, hey, we're gonna go build a team and we're gonna go build a real company. We started that, and as is pretty common with most entrepreneurs and businesses, the first 6 months we made some money, but it was all going to payroll and to expenses. My business partner, I didn't take any money out for the first 6 months. That was leading up until March 2012. In fact, we went to an event similar to an event we're at right now, and I had the chance to speak and we could sell from stage. And the morning that I was gonna sell from stage, I got emails from my personal bank and my business bank accounts, so they were all overdrawn. Like I was out of money.
Right before you got on the stage.
Right before I got on stage. It was a real good boost of confidence. I was like, okay, this is, it's really exciting. So that's what it was. You want to go behind closed doors for the first year and a half to 2 years of what has become SixthDivision, because SixthDivision looks really cool right now. And you don't typically hear the stories. There's an element in marketing where I gotta tell the story like I'm credible. Like, okay, here's what it is. Yeah, we did really cool stuff. I can tell you all the stuff we learned there. And for the first 2 years, so in terms of takeaways, right? Because I think we're talking younger demographic looking to get into business, right? Takeaways for me would be you're not supposed to know what you're going to do when you start. So stop carrying it over your head like you're supposed to. Like you won't know. Because what happens is when you think you're supposed to know, not only one, do you have a fear of, is the idea that I have going to work, but you compound it by adding extra pressure that the idea that you have is supposed to be the one that works.
Interesting.
You're not supposed to know. If I could go back to myself right when I started at the very beginning and be like, look, dude, here's what's going to happen in the next 2 years. You're going to try some stuff and some of it's going to feel good and some of it's not. And you're going to find out what you want to do and it'll probably take you a couple of years. And if you stop pretending if you stop worrying about whether your answer of what you're supposed to do is the right answer, you might actually make some money. Because what people do is they take an idea and they keep it in their head and they try and mold it and massage it to make it be like the perfect thing, because that's got to work. Because if that doesn't work, then who am I as an entrepreneur? Because my idea didn't work. Look, all the entrepreneurs I know that are successful, they will all tell you the same thing. No, you just try stuff and something will stick. And if you remove the extra pressure that you're even supposed to know, it's like, no, the entrepreneur's job is to, hey, there's an idea, there's a potential market. Can I find people that will pay for it? Can I make the economics work? Oh, I'm making money. Is it fun? Does it fulfill me? Okay, I can run with this one. See, I didn't do that. I was like, no, whatever I do, I have to get it right out the gates. So I didn't do anything. So I didn't make any money. You can make money doing something that is not the long-term play, and that you're like, I don't actually like this, I'm gonna kill it. Okay, yeah, now you know, and you've learned a bunch of stuff, but like, go
till you do it.
Till you do it, yeah. So, you have something, you have an idea you want, don't hold to it so tightly, it has to work. We're 2 years in now, right? If we're going on a timeline, we're 2 years in, and we're not making any money. And so there was one thing that what I was gonna say is I wish I could say that it was like, oh, I'm really smart, I can see that this is what it is, I'm gonna go do this. No, it just totally happened on accident. And depending on what your belief is, it wasn't on accident. I believe it was like, but it wasn't it had nothing to do with me. And here's what we did. We showed up at an event. So I told you, I woke up that morning, I had no money. We're gonna sell that night. We showed up at an event and we went to the event with 3 different offerings. Because we're like, oh, we got to have an offering for this kind of person, an offering for this kind of person, like at all price points, because we wanted to create something for everybody. Yeah. Take notes. Bad idea. Create something for everybody. No, we don't do that yet. You don't ever start that way. So I get up on stage, and from stage, I was only selling one thing, and it was a $6,000. Come hang out with us for 2 days, and we'll implement a bunch of stuff for you. I was scared out of my mind. I've never sold anything more than $50 from stage, and we sold a freaking ton of them.
Just from that stage? Just from that stage.
So we did, from end of March to the end of that year, 2012, we did 7 figures in sales in our first year. Now that's not as attractive as it sounds. If you could see what my life looked like in that year, you would not want it. It was horrible. I mean, it was just crazy. It was great because the business was going, but it was like we're fulfilling, and then we got to sell new stuff, and then we got to travel to go to events. We got there's just all kinds of stuff going on. Here's what happened though, in all of that. What happened is, I inadvertently, I'm going to give you 2 things. I inadvertently stumbled on the 2 things that made all the difference in the world. One, at the event, we sold a ton of this 2-day $6,000 deal. We had another one that was $1,500 a month that you could sign up for. We had another one that was $97 a month, like a membership site. Not a single person bought the $97 a month thing. One person bought the $1,500 a month thing, and within a week, we kind of decided we didn't want to do it, and they also decided it too. And what it left us with was, okay, everybody wants this. One single thing that I can put all my energy into. So the first big aha moment that was more like a, hey, genius, wake up, was pick one thing. Because every time you create another offering, you have to be able to staff the selling of that offering. You got to be able to staff the fulfillment of that offering. It's like having a whole nother business. For the first, we got to probably $2.5, maybe $2.75 million business on one offering. When we started, there were 5 or 6, 4 or 5 or 6. I mean, they were full-time, let's say 4 full-time, and then we had some like a part-time kind of person, and eventually we had to cycle some of them out. But so that was the first big thing, is just focus on a single thing. Anytime I'm talking to anybody that wants to go start a business and they're like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, just pick one. Just make one thing work. It's going to take enough time and energy to make the one thing work. You don't need to be worrying about trying to make 5 things work.
Makes perfect sense, actually.
So that was the first one. The second one is pick the most expensive thing. So those are the 2, like, oh, that works really well. Because what happened is we sold a whole boatload of these $6,000 deals. and we had a bunch. They were the most profitable thing. And what it did is while my schedule was still crazy for a year, that gave us the profit to be able to actually breathe a little bit to make decision to move forward. Whereas if we had sold $197 a month memberships, that doesn't actually,
it wouldn't move the needle.
It wouldn't move the needle. It's like, oh crap, I still got to make payroll. When I go sell a freaking boatload at $6,000, and then every month when it's like, think about it, if I do 100 people at $100 a month, I've got what, $10,000 a month in revenue. It's not going to cover many people. If I have a $6,000 offering and I sell 4 of them a month, and I only have 4 clients to deal with, now I've got $25,000 a month, right? So it's pick one thing, and where possible, start with the thing that has the most amount of profit, because it buys you room to go do everything else. Those are like those two principles combined are what did the initial like, oh, there we go. So. Yeah, for our business. So, and we like, yes, and we tapped into a massive pain. So if you want to go another element, business is about, there's a need in the market. Your ability to sell it, to be able to sell it for a lot of money and to sell a lot of it, is directly correlated to the pain or desire that somebody feels for it, and your ability to craft a message that has to be like, holy crap, that. I mean, we closed like 30% of the room. I tend to shy away from, I don't have favorites.
Yep.
I don't do like the one thing, because there's never one thing. But let's talk about, so I'm just going to reframe it as, what is a big mistake?
Yep.
A really big mistake that I see a lot of people make over and over again. Oh, let me think. So I just did this pre-zone. We talked about, there's like 6 of them. Those are the ones that I've latched onto. It's going to go back to kind of what I alluded to at the beginning. I would say one of the biggest ones that's really present for me right now, because I'm seeing it a lot, is that entrepreneurs, so you have an entrepreneur, business owner, who has ideas. And the entrepreneurs that I'm interacting with, I'm starting to notice that entrepreneurs, and I noticed this in me, and then I'm like, oh, we need to change that. And now I'm starting to see it in everybody else, not in everybody else, but in a lot of people.
Yeah.
We take like part of our own personal identity and we bake it into our ideas. And that's really dangerous. Because what happens is when my identity is tied up in the idea that I had, then I'm going to be overprotective. This is the same thing I said at the beginning. I'm going to be really overprotective about when it launches. I'm going to be nervous to launch it, because if the idea fails and my identity and who I am is partly in that idea, that means I failed. And nobody wants to fail. So so the idea for me, what I'm working to build is just like a strength and a muscle in our business, and I'm really starting to push on with entrepreneurs, is to the extent that you are capable of looking at an idea like a totally separate, inanimate object from you. It doesn't have, like, an idea is like a commodity, it's just a thing. And then your ability to get it implemented as fast as freaking possible to see if it's going to work, to prove it. When you remove all emotion, all ego, all pride, everything out of the idea, and it's like, yeah, I got 15 ideas. So what people do is, I got 15 ideas. Is it a good idea? I don't care. Like, there are some ideas you look at and be like, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Okay, great. But that doesn't mean it's a good idea or not a good idea. It just means that you don't think that you're not going to put any energy into it because you don't think that it's going to work. But there's no good or bad ideas. Like, you take all that out, because if you say, is it a good idea? What you're saying is, did I come up with a good idea? No, it's like, no, look, I had an idea. Which one seemed plausible? That one does. Which one seems like it's probably the most plausible based on everything we know? That one. Go launch it. Without any expectation it's going to work. I just tell myself all my ideas suck and they're going to fail, and one of them's going to surprise me, and I'll be like, okay, we'll go with that one. Like, there's no extra badge that you get, no like ribbon that you get, no extra money you make. It's not like you get a 10% bump on top of your sales from a magical source because you had an idea and you're like, dude, that's the winner, and then it was the winner.
Makes perfect sense.
The only time you make money is when the idea is implemented. It doesn't matter where it came from. Doesn't matter who came up with it. There is no and you're not, your job as an entrepreneur actually is not to be the one that comes up with the winner idea. It's to have a machine that can churn through all the ideas, and then you'll be left with one that works, or 2 that work. So like, there's a resistance, like, no, I can't do it. Why not? Well, what if it fails? Then it fails and you go to the next one. And it doesn't mean anything about you.
You wouldn't know if...
Yeah, and we tell ourselves like, no, but I should know. Whatever. I have a phrase, stop shooting on yourself. I want to get a shirt made that says, stop shooting on yourself. There is no should. Just, there's an idea, launch it, see if it worked. If it worked, go make it better. If it didn't work, kill it. Go to a new one. Without any emotion, no pride, you don't lose any sleep, you don't like feel bad about yourself, you don't get embarrassed when you're in like a room full of entrepreneurs. They're like, yeah, I did this idea. You're like, yeah, cool. I did like 100 that didn't work. Keep it simple. And here's what I mean. Business is really, really, really simple. There's somebody over here that has a need, and there's somebody over here that has the thing that fills the need, and this gets handed over here in exchange for money. And there's a spectrum, right? So you're exchanging money for a service or a product. If you take somebody's money and you don't deliver a service or a product, on this edge of the spectrum, it's called fraud. If you deliver a service or product and don't take any money, it's called charity. We're talking business in the middle. So the key is recognize, one, that business is literally, all it's about is somebody has a need, I have a thing that can solve the need, they're gonna give me value in exchange for value, their value is gonna come to me in the form of money. That's it. So keep it simple, because you'll get into conferences, you'll be listening to podcasts and stuff, and people will talk about all these things, and you'll start to get like all the different strategies you could follow, and you'll start to get away from the fact that at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that there's somebody who's got a need or a want, and you're gonna fill it. That's it. And when you, if you're not making enough money, then you might be running a charity. Now, a charity doesn't, like, the more you go down the spectrum where you don't charge enough, you're running a charity and you're actually hurting yourself. When you start going this way, if you deliver crappy quality service, in my opinion, you're a fraud. Now, it's not full fraud where you didn't deliver anything, but like if you are just delivering crappy service, it's the same spectrum. So here's why that's the backdrop for me. All problems, when it relates to finding clients and getting money, like, because we're not talking about hiring a team, we're not talking about that, just about making money. All problems or all questions, all opportunity boils down to one of two things. What is the process I have in place to convert a lead into a prospect into a client? Meaning, like, how many emails do I send? How many phone calls? Like that whole thing. And then to deliver, it's the process. Is it 3 emails? Is it 7 emails? Is it 2 phone calls? Is it 1 phone call? Do they come into my office? Is it all done virtually? It's the process. And then it's the messaging and it's the language. It's the message you deliver. So you have someone who has a need, you have something that can solve the need. All you have to figure out is where are they and how do I get them into my process? And what sign do I take, and obviously not a real sign, but what sign do I take that has a message that has them say, oh yeah, that, I want that. So people get like, I'm gonna do an automated webinar, I'm gonna do this. I'm like, no, I have an idea. Do you even know what your audience wants? So if we go into practical steps, here's what it looks like for me. You start, number 1, by knowing who you're serving. You've got to be able to identify them and be like for us, we serve entrepreneurs who have like smaller businesses. We're not going after like the 100 employee business. We could. The thing I have can serve those people, but I'm not going after those people. If I narrow it down to the people that I just love working with the most, it's the people who have some element of either a human is selling in the sales process or a human is fulfilling on the delivery process, but there's a human to human element somewhere involved.
So it's not fully automated.
It's not fully automated. And part of the reason why is because what we're really up to at 6thDivision is I want to create leaders in the world. And it's really hard to create leaders. It's a different dynamic when the whole business is fully automated, as opposed to like the CEO has to actually lead people. So I know that that's what my audience is, and I'm looking for people who value having a system and a process and they want to have a growing business, but they want it to be as calm and organized as possible. Yeah, no, you want to get as narrow as possible, and I believe you want to have a reason why. Why that group? And it's not because of the problem they have. Like, what is it about that group that has you, like for me, the reason why I want to serve this group that I've talked about is because when you have humans that are selling or humans that are fulfilling, it means that there's a team that's going to be involved, and I can make it really easy for the team, and then I can get into the ear of the entrepreneur to turn him into a leader or her into a leader for the team, and that will inevitably then turn the team into leaders as they go home into their families. That'll impact their families will then go interact with their friends, which will impact their friends. Like, the whole 6thDivision play is about creating leaders. And what I've identified is people subconsciously want that, and there's a massive pain point, which is I can't figure out this whole automation thing. I use automation to get people in so I can create leaders. That's why I go after that business. So I know who I'm going after, and I'm aware of why I'm going after them, and there's a reason behind it. Once I know who I'm going after, the next step is I'm just going to go to them and I'm going to figure out, 1, what is the thing that's the biggest problem for you? That's like really painful, that you're willing to pay, and how do you describe it? Tell me how you describe what the problem is. Like, and again, see, people shy away from this because as an entrepreneur, they want to know what the idea is. Like, no, I'm not going to ask my clients. I know what they want. Okay. Or you can just be like, I can just talk to entrepreneurs and be like, hey, what sucks right now for you? And they'll just tell you. And then it's like, all right, cool. Now I know how to create all my marketing message, all my sales messages come because I know, because my client, the one I'm trying to serve anyway, tells me, dude, you know what'd be awesome is if I had this thing. All right. And then my question is, okay, if it's that product or service, can I make money at that? Like, I don't want it to be a charity. I want to provide value, and I want to provide value for me. So can I make money at that thing? And if so, then how do I get the person, like, how do they talk about it so that when I go talk to them, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, you, like, you're in my head. So keep it simple and know that all you're doing is you're identifying a pain that people have a willingness to pay for. And they are already thinking about it. All you have to do is get in and say, okay, well, how do they talk about it so I can just carry that story to them and then get them to come buy the product or service. And then I got to deliver and I got to blow their mind. Like nowadays, a lot of people are like, oh no, I gotta put up a landing page. I have an idea. Take a week, which is the time you'd spend trying to decide which landing page tool to use, as if it matters. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Take a week and pick up the phone and just call people. It's like, hey, I have an idea. Hey, you run a business, right? Cool. Hey, so can I talk to you for 15 minutes? It'd be a massive help for me. I have nothing to sell at all. I just want to talk to you. And instead of spending ad money on trying to drive people to that sort of a campaign, call them. And if you got the money to spend, be like, look, I'll send you this. Or just be like, hey, look, I recognize, like, I'm in the business of, I want to serve this group of people. It looks like you're in this. Is that right? Okay, look, I am on a mission to create a solution for, one of these problems. Is that a problem for you? Will you just take 5 minutes and talk to me about it? Yeah, before I go create a product or run Facebook ads or go create a funnel, it's like, I have an idea. I think these people want this. Maybe I'll just pick up the phone and ask them. And people want to do that. It's like, oh, well, that's like work. I have to talk to people. What if they say no? If you're afraid of people saying no, you should quit right now. That's like entrepreneurship all day long, is people saying, no, I don't want it. And that's just because you haven't figured out the message yet. So the whole point is, how much easier will every sales conversation be? Every ad that you have to write, every email you have to write, every landing page you have to build, how much easier it will be when you're like, look, I booked 100 calls with these people. I know exactly what they say. Or you can do what not everybody, I'm being a little bit facetious, or you can do what a lot of people do, which is, no, I'm not going to ask them, and I'm going to wonder, I'm going to try and like navigate through my sales calls and see if I can make it up. No, I will just go talk to them ahead of time. Like, I don't like to play games that I can't win. So it's like, no, it's real clear. They have a problem. People that have a problem are willing to pay for it. They're not afraid of talking about it. If you have a solution, they'll tell you, like, if you have a solution, they're going to want it. So your job is, let me go figure out what the problem actually is. And to invest money in an entire infrastructure around something that I don't actually know what the problem is, just doesn't make sense to me. Like, look, if you don't have the skill set to be able to create a funnel and you don't have the ads to go run it, if you have that, you can do that. That's another viable option. The point is there's a million markets you could serve. Pick who you want to serve and identify what you think the problem is that you're going to solve. And then go validate it before you go invest a whole bunch of time. So I'm just saying, if you're on a budget, don't tell yourself, oh, I don't know how to make this work because I can't get my funnels up and running. I don't have any money to spend. Yeah, but you do have a phone and it's a cell phone. You're already paying the bill. It doesn't matter how many calls you make. So whatever it is, whether it's cold calling, whether it's like going, like if you serve people that operate out of like a strip mall, go knocking door to door and be like, hey, look, I literally have nothing to sell. I come with a Krispy Kreme donut. If you'll answer my questions, I'll give, like, what, I don't care what it is, get creative. But it's like, validate that what you think is a problem that they have that they'd be willing to pay for actually is a problem that they have and would be willing to pay for. And this goes back to, like, people won't do that because, like, well, I don't want my, like, I like my idea. I don't want it to not be valid. So I want to know right now if my idea is not right.
There you go.
Easiest place is SixthDivision.com. It's SIXTH division.com, not the number. There's no number in there. So SixthDivision.com. We've got some stuff on there. If you want to talk to someone on our team, you can fill out the form. There are some resources you can get. You can go find us on Facebook. I mean, we're around.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Brad literally rocked the entire episode. And he shared some really powerful information with us, and I hope you guys took some notes and you go ahead and you implement. Don't forget, if this is your first time here, subscribe, hit the bell to make sure you get notified every time when we have another one in the future. Also, if you want these episodes in your own inbox or messenger, go to clientacquisitionpodcast.com and get all the details there. It's also a giveaway going on a monthly basis, and I'm not saying that you're gonna win automatically, but if you don't enter, you cannot win. We got books, courses, coaching, and a lot of other cool stuff that you can win. So go to clientacquisitionpodcast.com and get all the details there. Thanks a lot for watching, and also, I really want to hear your feedback. I want to know what you think about this episode, what is your key takeaways from this, and also other episodes that you've watched maybe. And if you have any thing in mind, let me know, regardless if it's positive or negative. Let me know in the comments and I'll be the one replying back. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.